Hello and welcome. I am DeBay and this is my podcast, The Good System. Here I talk about the vision of a good, sustainable system which is built to serve mankind and every single human being. That's a very complex and wide-ranging topic. For example, I will talk about education, economy, infrastructure, democracy, art, and I will create, with you together, a vision of the good system. I try to make these dry topics as funny and entertaining as possible. But first, who am I? Attentive listeners can remember I am Ian DeBay. I have a blog with the creative name iandebay.com, link in the show notes, where I already write about all these topics. The podcast will be a deeper dive into the rabbit hole system thinking. I am 42 when this podcast airs. Do you see air? You can hear I'm old. I mean, when this podcast is put to the internet. Nevertheless, I'm 42 now. Therefore, I know the answer to everything. No, I don't. I'm searching for it and I try to present it here. I do not have any science degree. Well, I do have a theater, movie, and media studies degree, but no degree that qualifies me talking about these topics. But I have a lifelong interest in sustainability, which is the core of everything in our good system. And while searching for answers, I got into system thinking. The blog and now this podcast are part of my journey finding answers, helping build a vision and work towards realizing it. Maybe you are at a similar journey or in a part of your life where you need to know you are not alone. 18 months ago, I was really depressed. My family and I were sick for nearly 2 years. I was stuck in my job. Society and the economy did develop in a way it made me afraid, and the development got even worse since then. I felt burnt out and overwhelmed, and I had no vision. I knew something needed to change, so I started therapy. Then, 30 months ago, from the time this podcast airs first, I had what I thought at that time was a heart attack. Luckily, it was probably only a heart infection. This was a turning point for me. I started a healthier lifestyle, although I am still working on it, and I knew I had to quit my job, which I finally did in the last summer while on health retreat. Now I try to fulfill my dream of becoming an online content creator, a creative solopreneur or podcast/blogger/YouTuber. I finally found a topic I want to make content about, the vision of a good system. But why? Because being in a dark place myself, I felt the lack of a vision and that there is no vision for our planet. We need a system change, but it is incredibly hard to convince people if they have no idea how the new system should look like, what the system means for them personally. Often, people do not even see the problems of our current system. We destroy our planet so that a few people get richer. And I am deeply convinced that we cannot solve our problems with some new taxes, sustainable products, or being vegan. While all this can be part of it, we need to change the core of our system. The good system needs to be sustainable, global, and include everyone. I am not interested in the fight between capitalism and communism, drivers and cyclists, or left and right. I am interested in solutions that serve sustainability, democracy, and equity. To achieve this, I look at the current problems and try to paint a picture on how to solve this in a good system. This is absolutely insane and megalomaniac. I know that. And I know I can't do it alone. I want to start a thought process. I want to inspire. I want to show people who are in a dark place, like I was, that there will be light. And no, I'm no guru, I'm not omniscient. But as I said earlier, I'm a middle-aged white man and people listen to my kind, even if we don't have any clue what we say. A vision is always biased on the time and the place it is created. Therefore, it can't be final. But at the core, there can be an everlasting universal set of rules. This podcast is mainly about thoughts and ideas that are based on my experiences and science. I don't want to be just a blufferer. I try to say things that are well founded. Why should you listen? When you are depressed by or afraid of our current system and want to change something, this podcast is for you. If you just need to hear that you are not alone with your thoughts and your feelings, this podcast is for you. If you think our current system is perfect and doesn't need change, this podcast is for you. Maybe I can show you the problems and at the same time present you a possible solution. If you are interested and want to join me on my journey and want to build a better system, I would be happy if you subscribe to my podcast. Have a look at my blog, and I also have a newsletter. All links are in the show notes. Since this podcast episode is not a typical example of my podcast, I have a second episode air at the same time. It is ready to download in your favorite podcast app. So you have a better understanding of what you can expect. Thank you for listening. Till next time, yours, Ian DeBay.